Hey y'all, Happy New Year. I am so glad to see 2022 gone. It has been a little bit of a rough end of the year for my side of the family. So hopefully 2023 will be a much better start and middle and end for us this year. I was off a couple of weeks for the holidays, and all the things that I had planned to do basically got thrown out of the window because of some health issues going on with my father, and some other unexpected things happened, but everything's good now. And we actually ended up celebrating Christmas late with them because of that. But so I spent the last 2 days before I had to go to work holed up here in my crafty space, hanging out with some friends on online, and we crafted and chit-chatted, which leads me to today's video, because one of the things that I wanted to work on, one day I was gonna organize and the next day I was gonna scrapbook, but I ended up organizing both days because on that first day I was taking my paper pads by some of my favorite designers that I have papers of, like single sheets I had in one spot, and then I had a paper pad, say like Jen Hadfield. I had some Jen Hadfield loose papers in my loose paper collection, and then I had some Jen Hadfield paper pads in another location because I do like to scrapbook by designer or by collection or kit, because it's just easier for me. I don't enjoy searching and trying to put things together. I like when it's done for me. So instead of going to one place for my loose papers and another place to see what I have in a paper pad, I decided to take those and put them all together, and I was breaking down those particular paper pads. And then somehow in the group, and I can't remember exactly how it came about, we somehow got started on a 6x6 paper pad discussion, and this is what it resulted in for me and for Scylla. I went through all my 6x6 paper pads. I pretty much have them all in one spot, and I broke them down. Now, how I broke them down was by theme or by designer. And I don't have a ton of paper pads, and I wished I would have counted them, and I probably have a few other stray ones here or there as I come across. I will do the same thing that I'm fixing to show you. But look at, now some of these are branding strips from the 12x12s that I tore down. But look at most of these are my 6x6 paper pads, branding strips, and it did take me part of the evening and then the whole next day to complete it, because not all paper pads are created the same, and some of them, like these Echo Park paper pads, were not perforated and you had to cut them. I had a Prima pad that I had to cut, and some of my mind's eyes that I had to cut. I guess it's probably easier for them not to do it that way, but it does not make it easier on us. So I just wanted to share with you, and I don't know if you've seen that. still dealing with the invasion of the stink bugs. He'll go in here. We live in the country, and they find a crack somewhere to get in. And if you're in the South and you live out in the country, you know you have to deal with the stink bugs and the ladybugs. And I usually take them and put them outside because you do not want to squash them, because they're called a stink bug for a reason. They have this very peculiar odor they emit. And I read that that odor they give off attracts more stink bugs. So we just have to deal with these during this time of the year. But anyway, this will, and he's going to go outside, because this is going to go outside on my back porch till I start my next fire. And this will be a good fire starter for me. So I just wanted to show you how much extra unnecessary papers, there's a few scraps in here, that is leaving my room. So that was a lot of work, but I'm going to show you what I ended up with. So I just have, and I use these also for my thicker storage. This is just a basket that I purchased from Target. And I have several of them, and 2 of them have my thickers in them, and they fit 2 rows of 6x6 pads very nicely. So how I tore them apart, as I said, is either by designer Jen Hadfield. So these are all my Jen Hadfield 6x6 papers. Here is Maggie Holmes, Paige Evans. I've got some Pink Fresh, some Chamel, and this one is in the wrong spot. I need to move this because this is a category. Here is Simple Stories. And as you know, if you have any of the Simple Stories paper pads, as soon as you open and tear a sheet out of them, they fall apart. So I would just shove the sheet back in the pad. And another thing I like to do is I audition a lot of things, even 6x6 paper. So I would pull a paper out and then not end up using it, and I would shove it back into the pad along with my scraps, and then this way is just much more neat and organized. So I have designers. This right here that I said is in the wrong spot I just labeled it every day. And these were kind of like oddball paper pads. There were some from Studio Calico that really didn't kind of make sense together. And then there were some, like this is an Amy Tangerine paper pad. I can't remember the name of it, but it was just kind of things that were more general that I could pull a piece of paper from. So I did keep the paper pad together. It's just torn apart. So here I have female, I have home and family, I have male, here's some One Canoe 2, My Mind's Eye. Then we have outdoor. I have spring, summer, winter, and wood grain. And I think, oh, and over here I have Christmas and fall. So, back here, what I use for my tabs is a lot of these paper pads that had the perforations, like Pink Paisley, One Canoe 2 did, you know, a lot of the pink paisley, they are taller than the actual 6x6. So I just turned it upside down to where the little hangy holes on the bottom, and wrote my category on the top and slid it in. And so I'm going to tilt this a little bit so you can see that my tabs stick up further than my paper. So I love this. It is very nice and organized, and it took a while, and I kid you not, my right shoulder, between the base of my neck and the end of my shoulder, the top of my shoulder, where you have that little curve, is sore because I tore or cut every single one of these sheets. And I was determined that I was going to get it done. So that's why I did not end up doing any scrapbooking yesterday, because I did this. And I'm so happy with it, and I love it. And I have some 6x8 paper pads that I'm going to do next. And I don't have a lot, and I'm going to grab them real quick. Okay, so these are my 6x8 paper pads. And I counted them. There's 22 of them. And this is a mailing box. Let's see, somewhere it has the size on it. Our friend Janet over at Love RTS Scrapbooking told us about these mailing boxes, which fit these paper pads perfectly, even the 6x6. So I just have one, and I will be doing these next. And see, these are all 6x8, but look, they're different sizes, even though they all are 6x8. So I'll be doing that next. And one other comment that I remembered when I was pulling these out, I did have one Kaisercraft paper pad that was 6.5 by 6.5. So instead of storing it separately, you know what I did? I just cut it down to 6x6. It may have messed up the design a little bit on a couple of the pages, but by that point I was over it and just wanting to get it done, and I wanted everything nice and neat. So I just cut them down to 6x6. Because I didn't even realize when I bought it, it was 6.5 by 6.5. So this will be going next. I probably will not show it completed because it's going to just be in here. And I will use, you know, one of these the same way as my tab divider. And I will probably do it the same way by category. Now, I know the way a couple of my friends do theirs, and I believe this is the way Scylla did hers, is she kept some of her paper pads together by theme, but the ones that she looked at and just seen a color, she broke them apart and sorted them by color. And a couple other ladies do that also. And I know our friend Debbie, who heads up the Love RTS Facebook group, she uses her 6x6 paper pads for die cutting, which is another great idea, and sorts them by color. But I really don't care to sort my papers by color. I like theme and designer and collections. And I do have those color categories that I want to, you know, eventually get away with. So, however it works for you, that's what you do. And by just sorting it by theme and category is what worked for me. I did not want to break them apart and separate them by color. It's just a matter of personal preference. So that is what I did. So I was planning on doing Collection Obsession this month, but I think I'm going to move it to next month because I want to continue on my cleaning and organization journey, which isn't going to get done by any means in a month, but it's kind of what I'm in the mood to do and what I'm motivated to do. So I'm going to stay on that track and maybe do a couple of scrapbook pages, but my focus is going to be mainly on getting some things in my space cleaned up. So I'm motivated to scrapbook. So we'll see you next time. Bye.